All right, here's video number 2. We're going to start off by patterning these out, making a pattern of 3 of them, and then we're going to make the back piece. All right, so let's get down to it. First things first is we're going to come up here to create, pattern, and rectangular pattern. I'm actually not sure if my backspace button works for this. It doesn't. That only works for they're different ones. So pattern and rectangular pattern. We're going to click on this object. We want to make sure that this says bodies, not faces. We want to pattern the whole thing. So we have to click on it again. Now we have this whole thing highlighted. We're going to click on direction, and we're going to say, hey, we want to pattern it out to the side this way. And I'm going to grab it and drag it, and we do want 3 of them, and we want them to come out to an extent of 29 centimeters total. That's how wide the computer platform is going to be, and we're going to click OK. And right away we have 3 of them made. So making that first one was worth it because it made making the rest of them crazy easy. Now we're going to make the back of the thing. So we're going to come to this back corner here so we can, ooh, I don't like that. I'm going to go back to home. I'm going to click on this one here. Yeah, I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to make the back on this edge here. This is the far left-hand side edge. So I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to create it on this left-hand edge. Make sure that the angled is here on the right and the flat is here on the left. That's the outside you want to be on. And that's it. This one's pretty easy to make. I'm going to show you a neat way of making a rectangle the right size. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool here and then just create a rectangle below the top here and above the bottom here, just right in here. Any size doesn't matter. Just draw a rectangle. Now I'm going to use my constraint tools to position it. So I'm going to come up here and use what's called the collinear tool. This is a great tool. It takes 2 lines that aren't in line with each other and it scooches them over so they are in line. So if you got a line up here and a line down here, it'll scooch them together. It won't scooch them on top of each other like this. It'll just scooch them to be in line with each other. So I'm going to say, hey, take this line right here. I'm going to say this line needs to be in line with this edge. And all of a sudden, bam, you see it lined those 2 lines up. And I said, hey, this line needs to be in line with this one. That's as high as it should go. The bottom should come down here and be in line with this one. And then the left side should be over here in line with this one. Now what we're doing is we're modeling the edge of the piece of plywood for the back piece, then we're going to extrude it across its entire length. So it's kind of a weird way to think about modeling something, but it's super easy to do in this case. We're going to hit E for extrude. I'm going to go back to that view because I don't know why. I want to select them first before I tip it. And then I'm going to flip it. Yep, I'm going to go back to the home view, and I want this to extend in this direction across all the backs and then some. So I actually want to hit a distance of 42 centimeters right across here. So mine is negative, yours may not be. Well, that's not right. 42 centimeters, I put 403 in. Right now it assumes because I'm passing through objects, I want to cut. But notice how I've cut all the tabs off. Well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to click here and say new body. And that's going to create a new body across the back. And I'm going to say OK to that. And now I have my back made. So pretty quick and easy for the back. Right now I know I'm getting a lot of bodies together, so I'm going to start making sense of which ones are which. So this one, okay, so this one I'm going to call L side for left side. This one I'm going to call this middle 1. This one's going to be middle 2. And then, which one? Yep, that's middle 2, because there'll be another wall out here on the right. So that's not the right side yet. And this body 4 is going to be the back. Enter. Awesome. And now to create the back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the shape of this one with all these tabs we've already done all this work on to create this other side piece. It's just going to make my life a lot easier. To do that, though, I need to get a surface that's parallel to this. So I want to look this way. So I'm going to create this sketch right on the edge of this piece of plywood right here, because that's where that's going to be, and we're going to move it in. So I'm going to come up here and do create sketch. I'm going to click on this edge of the plywood. Now once I've done that, I'm going to use the P key for project. I'm going to click on this object, this wall right here, And I'm okay with the entities, this one being checked. I'm going to undo projection link, and I'm going to click OK. Awesome. Now I'm going to hide everything because all my bodies are in the way. So I'm going to take off all of these bodies and hide them. And that's what I have drawn so far. So you can see I've got all of this. I don't need this front triangle section. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab a line tool, start at that corner, and drag down 90 degrees like that. I don't want to be in the, ooh, this is tricky. I don't want to be in the center here. I don't want to be on the corner here. I want to be where it says 90, which is like right there. And notice that up above it says 90 degrees as well. So enter. If when you click on it, it doesn't have a little 90-degree triangle, undo and do it again until you get this little perpendicular T here. That's what we're looking for. If it's a triangle, you're in the middle of that line, and we need to undo that. Okay, so now I don't need this part. I just need this part extruded, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to extrude it right now. So I'm going to hit E for extrude. I'm going to choose this surface to extrude, and notice I got to get these 3 tabs as well. I want these as well. Now I'm going to turn the back on so I can see which way to extrude. And I want to extrude into the back. Okay, yeah, so I need to extrude away from me, into the back this direction. And I only want to go actually a negative TH, enter. That puts the thickness in, and that's perfect. Now it thinks I want to cut, but I'm going to say, no, I don't want to cut. I want a new body. And I want to say, let me show you what happens if you do this. If you say cut instead, it's going to say okay, and it's going to be like, oh, it just cut and disappeared. Instead of undoing that, that's just this extrusion command. So if I come down here to my history bar and I right click, I can say edit feature, and I can fix it. I can say, okay, cut should be new body, and click OK. And now I have a separate body down here. I'm going to call this one R side. So I'm staying organized. I recommend you stay organized as well. I'm going to turn the rest of them on. Notice here that there's no holes cut yet for this piece to go into. We'll cut those holes later. All right. So that is all the 3 supports for the computer stand or for your laptop computer. The back piece, the right piece. Oh, we do one more thing. We need to add the 3 tabs into this face. So we're going to click here and click on the outside face of this left side one. It needs 3 tabs back here, just like this has 3 tabs. We're going to try and repeat this process up here. I'm going to turn off everything so I can see only this right-hand side one. And I'm going to create a rectangle. I want it to be even with this piece and even with this corner. So I'm going to draw it up there. And if it's not, that's okay. I'm actually going to do it way off first. I'm going to do it like up. Whoops. I'm going to create the rectangle tool. I'm going to do it like up. I'm going to do it worse than that even. I'm going to do it like up here like this. So clearly too big, clearly off to the side. So I'm going to dimension this. I want this side to be thickness because it's the thickness of the plywood these tabs are. Enter. And then I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to use my collinear tool. And I'm going to say, I want this top one to be right with the top one of that one. And I want this left one to be even with that one. And then I want this bottom line to be even with this bottom line down here. That's not true. That's not what I wanted. Control Z. Control Z. There we go. I actually want, this is going to be one of the tabs, so I want to make it small. I want to make it 1.5. So I'm going to dimension this little line right out here to 1.5. Okay. So that should get me down to even with this one. And then I'm just going to do a rectangular pattern tool and see if I can't recreate this pattern. So rectangular pattern, I'm going to do this one, this one, this one, and drag it down. And I believe it's going to be that negative 8.5 again. Yeah, negative 8.53. That works great, except I think we did, how many did we do? There's 1 cut, 2, 3, 4. We did 4. So I'm going to increase the quantity to 4. I have 4, negative 8.5. And I'm going to say, okay. And now I just need to extrude these. So I don't know why I keep tipping these so aggressively. So I'm going to cut that one, that one, that one, that one. And I'm going to do it a negative thickness, TH, enter, and enter one more time to actually cut it. And there it is. So that's my right-hand side all ready to go. I'm going to turn everything back on, flip back to home view, and now I've got a lot of it modeled already. I'm feeling pretty good about this. The next thing that we need to do is make the top. So we're going to cut the top piece next. Excuse me. Okay. To do this, I need to create a rectangle across this whole big surface. So I need to be able to have the back corners. So notice here, the rectangle is going to actually start way back in this corner. So I'm going to create my sketch on this long top surface of this back wall. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to create my surface right on, it's hard to see, I'm going to zoom in a bunch. I'm going to click it right there on that surface. And when I zoom out, it should look like this. Yep, so now I'm on there. I want to create a rectangle that starts up here in the corner and extends down. I want to see where I want to go to. It needs to go in front of all the tabs and there. Yeah, so it needs to go in front of this line. It needs to be even with this line right here. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to go back to the top view. And I'm going to say, well, I'm just going to make it short. I'm going to pull it up to right to there because I'm going to use the collinear tool to line everything up now. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is use my collinear tool. I'm going to say, hey, I want this side to come all the way to the outside edge. And then this side to come all the way to this, ooh, it's hard to grab, this outside edge. And now I'm lined up just right. That's the size of my top. I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to keep going. So now what I want to do is cut all the tabs in this one. Now notice that we're going to use the tabs in this side and this piece and this piece and this piece to cut the side tabs in. So I really only need tabs in the back and in the front. One of the things I like about cutting tabs in the top surface of something is this top corner should be plywood on top, not a hole on top. So I cut the tabs in on the end a little bit. I'll show you what that means in just a second. So I'm going to rotate back to the top, and I'm going to turn off everything because I just want to be able to work on this one thing right now. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to enter in 2 centimeter rectangles. So I'm going to start... Where do I want to start? I want to start in the middle, I think. So I'm going to come over here in the middle and click and then drag out. And this top one should be 2 centimeters. The side, the height should be thickness, TH, enter, and enter to draw it. And now I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to use my midpoint tool, the little triangle. I'm going to click on the little line, but I can't grab, oh, there it is, I got it. And then I click on the big line. Again, if you don't get the little line to show up, just hold down that left mouse button. It'll give you all the options. Choose the right one. And now I've got that centered. So now I'm just going to do a rectangular pattern. Oh, before I do that, actually, I'm going to create another one down here so I can pattern them at the same time. So somewhere down here, just randomly on here, I'm going to do this. It's going to be 2 tab, TH, enter, enter, and I'm good. Now I'm going to do my midpoint tool. I'm going to hold down my left button, make sure I get that's the one I want, and that one's going to line up the middle. And next thing I'm going to do is, rectangular pattern tool. So I'm going to hit my backspace button and click right, left, or bottom and left, and then I'm going to come down here and do the same thing for the other side. So zoom out, come down here, zoom in on it, side, top, side. Zoom out. I'm going to drag this over, and that tells me that I'm working with this stuff up here. So I'm going to do symmetric here, and then you know what? That actually looks pretty darn good. I like how, so I like to have like a 1. This is going to be the cut part. This is going to be wood. So I like this to be about the same size as that one, and it looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave it there. So let's just increase the number until we have a nice spacing. And again here, you got to make sure to use an odd number because you're starting in the center. If I use 8, notice how I'm missing 1 here. 9 won't change the spacing, I'll just add 1 out there. And 9 looks like the right number. So I'm going to use quantity 9, a distance of 18, and symmetric for the direction, or the direction type. And then I'm just going to click OK. We have the tabs all ready to go. Now we just need to extrude this piece out, because remember that we're going to cut the tabs on the left and right using the sides of the box. So we're going to hit E for extrude. I don't know why it keeps doing this to me. It doesn't usually do this. I like to choose my extrusions from the flat view. Now, because I did it on the edge of the box, I've got these cut off, so I've got to come up here and make sure I'm choosing every other one, leaving the, nope, this was wrong. See, I've just done it wrong. I need to choose the outside one because the blue part is wood. The white part is going to be the hole for the tab. And now I'm going to choose every other one on the way across. If you're selecting stuff and you accidentally, like you can't get the selecting to work for whatever thing you have, if you hit the X up here, it'll clear the selections. You can reselect them. All right, so now I've done that. I'm going to click back to home, and I want this thickness. I don't remember which way I want to go, so I'm going to turn on the back real quick to make sure. So we are right on the surface of the back. Yeah, so I want to go down to be inside the back. I want these two pieces of wood to be overlapping so they can be joined together. So I'm going to go here with a negative thickness. Enter. And it thinks I want to cut, so before I hit enter again, I'm going to come down here and say, don't cut, make a new body. And now I'm going to hit enter, and now I have made a new body. And I'm going to call this body the top. Now I'm going to turn on all the other pieces so I can see how it looks. And you can see, yeah, that looks just right. You can see where it goes right up to this edge, along this front will be another piece of plywood. That looks fantastic. All right, so we're looking like pretty close to a good done box. Next thing we want to do is we're going to make the bottom. Yes, we're going to make the bottom, and to do that's really easy because all we're going to do, we're going to cheat big time. And I'm looking on here real quick. Oh, I do not like that. That's not. This is problematic that there's a hole there because this front piece won't be able to fill that hole. We have to, I don't know why this is working out differently. Like it didn't do this when I made the mock-up. I did it. It did do that actually. And it's pretty well hidden actually. Let's just leave it alone. We could come back here and create another sketch here and extrude down some wood to cover up that hole. But it's going to be behind the plate. We'll never notice it. Okay. In fact, I'm just now noticing I built one. I didn't even notice it. Okay. So how are we doing on time? Well, let's stop there for now. So right now we have the sides, top, back. We need the front and the bottom still, and then all those computer pieces on there. Okay, great job so far, and we will pick up here in the next video.